Good afternoon. As everyone joins, connects their audio, their camera, if you can, if you want to. Welcome. Feel free to let us know who you are, your name, your organization, something that made you smile today. Just happy that you're all here with us this afternoon. We're going to give folks 1 or 2 minutes to join us before we dive into the program. Again, welcome. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for folks to join. It's nice to see some familiar names, faces, profile pictures. Morning. Oh, afternoon. Awesome. Again, good afternoon. We're gonna wait for everyone, give people a chance to sign in and join us. We've had a lot of people register. So if you want, feel free to just type your first and last name into the chat. Let us know your org. And if you want to, also just something, if you have something that made you smile today, feel free to share that with us too. Thank you all for joining. And I know we're on a tight schedule this afternoon and appreciate people taking their lunch hour to be with us today. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Leslie, Terrence, Steven, does that sound good to you all?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So with
that, just want to say again, hello and welcome to the Effective Strategies for Virtual Engagement workshop. My name is Mia Harris. I am a part of the Office of Community Education Partnerships at Northwestern University. And for the My Shy, My Future initiative, our team at OSEP works with Chicagoans to learn how organizations, individuals like all of you in attendance, and especially our speakers today, on how to adapt their work and their youth programs during this unprecedented era. We then work to create opportunities to share your experiences, all of our experiences, approaches, and strategies around youth engagement, so then we can learn together. And with that, we are really excited to welcome our host, Steven Rosado, consultant at Praxis Institute Chicago, Terence Pruett, founder of Project Restore, and Leslie Beller, the director of MHA Labs, to our workshop today. And just want to say again, thank you to the three of you for being with us today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steven and Terrence.
Cool. Thank you, Mia. I'm going to share my screen for a second with folks so that we can go ahead and get into the presentation. Not a ton of slides. We're not trying to sit here and give you all a bunch of slides, but sometimes I like something visual to look at as a placeholder. So again, my name is Steven Rosado. I am the Strategy and Engagement Officer for the Praxis Institute. Praxis Institute is basically focused on how do we really take applied theory and put it into real-time learning for folks, and particularly for communities that historically have not been able to be at the table, identities and folks who have not been able to be at the table and really do the work from a participatory lens. So we use a participatory action lens and a community development lens to really think about how we can support the folks that we work with. I'll let my colleague Terrence introduce himself.
Thanks, Steven. I'm Terence Pruett. I'm the founder and principal consultant for Project Restore Initiative. The work we do at Project Restore is really focused on addressing structural violence, and we do that through healing engagement, healing-centered engagement, whether that is developing curriculum for youth, developing parent programs for parents, or whether it's working with the organizations that interface with and serve our youth and communities, building their capacity and developing the tools and skills within their organizations to make more equitable experiences and environments for youth. We do a lot of partnering with the Praxis Institute, and still Steven and I are really comfortable doing our work alongside each other, and we're happy to be with you guys today. Mia started the work for us of introducing all of you to us by having you put your name and your organization in the chat. But Steven and I are going to do a little similar thing. We want you to put your name, your organization, and title in the chat. And what we want to start you thinking about is to name a role of a non-family member or adult who impacted you in a positive way, and think about why they why they were good at engaging with you. We want you to type that in the chat. We want our chat to be lively. We know it's a space where we'll get questions from time to time. We know it's a space where we'll connect from time to time. But for this exercise, you're going to be giving your name, your organization and title, and the name of a role of a non-family member or adult who impacted you in a positive way, and give us a little bit of why they were engaging with you. This information is not only needed for us to get to know you, but we'll be using this information a little bit later as well.
Cool, yeah.
So,
yeah,
we'll give,
I was gonna say, we're gonna give folks a couple minutes to go ahead and put that in. I can model it verbally, right, as y'all are putting it in, just to give y'all context. So my name is Steven Rosado, and an adult who comes to mind for me is one of my high school social science teachers, Mr. Young. He's still a teacher now at King High School. I went to Lincoln Park High School. Now he teaches at King High School. It's actually full circle. His daughter was like entering one of my programs as I was leaving a program at a point last year. But Mr. Young was just awesome. He gave us a space for all the students at the school who really loved hip hop and hip hop culture and needed like an outlet and a space in the school that allowed us to practice our skills, whether it was DJing or art or whatever the case might be, or just having a space to like convene and listen to music. And he really helped us with shaping that. He also helped us with like shaping our advocacy and organizing in the school and the things that we would do as student organizers, and always providing a space for us. So Mr. Young, you know, if y'all know him, if you've ever worked with him, Eric Young, he's at King High School. Took like 3 classes with him in high school. I love that man.
For me, the person that jumps out to me, Steven, is Trudy Hodson. It's odd that you said social studies because she was my high school history teacher. And the reason why this matters, I went to a small Christian school that was predominantly white, and she was a white educator, and she was the only educator I had ever experienced in my entire life who communicated that history is the story of white males and how they won. She helped me develop some of the skills I have now by really asking questions, questioning information, and to have that solidarity with her across difference was powerful because it gave me an example of how someone that has a different upbringing than me and looks different than me can truly connect with me and care about the life I live and the people I hold dear. So I see a lot of people giving us a lot of youth guidance, a lot of support that they had in JROTC. So Bradley, thank you. Robin, thank you. Amy Pratt, thank you concerning your boss and that role. Oscar, thank you. We're getting a lot of people that are sharing these people that have made an impact on you, and you're sharing why they were engaging. Keep those people in your heart and mind as we go into our work later on.
Yeah, and I would actually welcome if there's anyone, before we transition to the next piece, if you want to use the raise hand function, if at any point you want to share something verbally, we have everyone on mute just for classroom management, as we would call it with young people, right? But if there's anyone who actually wants to share a little bit about their person, the way Terrence and I just did with the group, we would also welcome that if anyone wants to raise their hand right now. Feel free, and then we'll go ahead and unmute a few folks real quick. We got enough time to at least maybe get 1 or 2 share outs if anyone is interested in talking about that adult who did meaningful engagement for them.
And if you have any questions concerning how to raise your hand on your Zoom, if you click participants, you have the option to be able to raise hand, and we'll be able to see that if you are someone that wants to share about that adult and why they were engaging for you.
But also, if folks are like, this is my lunch break and I'm eating, and also in the chat, we get it.
It's cool with us.
We get it. But I'm loving this chat, and I know this is being recorded, and this is great. This is powerful data just right here, right? When we talk about the work that we do with young people, right, and the intentionality that has to happen around how we engage young people in our work and how we are quote unquote effective in engagement. You can't engage without building relationships, right? First and foremost with young people, and being intentional about how you go about building relationships. And just some of the things I've read in these chats right now, right, are highlighting some of that. It wasn't just about the program or the school or wherever it is you connected with this person. They gave you something beyond just what was in that program and went into that intentionality of relationship building, right? So you can engage. I think, the fundamental truth is you cannot be effective at engagement if you are not intentional about how you're building conducting relationship building with young people. And that's really what we're going to drive home in the next 30 minutes or so, is like that relationship piece, connecting to the intentionality behind the strategy of engagement. And you can't, and you won't build relationships if you're not effective about how you're engaging, right? So it's a two-way street, right? Like you won't build those relationships unless your engagement strategy as well is in that. And so with that, just one of the pieces to situate us before we kind of transition, I hand it off to Terrence for a second, is just thinking about this continuum and where does your program sit, right? Because recognizing that all of our programs, there's a continuum of engagement that happens with young people, right? Some of your programs may be in the youth services approach, right? Some of you may be working in the civic engagement or youth organizing lens. Some of you might be in the middle, in the development or leadership lens, right? These are a continuum, right, of program types. And within these continuum of program types then require different forms of engagement of young people, right? And require a different sort of intentionality in how you go about building the relationship with young people and being able to engage them. For the purposes of today, and I'm going to hand it off to Terrence in a second, we're really going to focus on that leadership piece, that leadership and engagement piece, just because that is where Terrence and I come from, right? That is the core to our work. The development is already built into it, right? All of this is development centered. All of this is developmental relationships embedded all the way through all 5 pieces of this. But from where Terrence and I tend to operate is really around leadership, engagement, and organizing. And so the examples we're going to share, and those tend to be the higher level examples that can be harder also to scaffold, right? So the things we're going to talk through today are specifically how do we do relationship building that serves those purposes in those bucket areas, right? And T, if you want to take it now.
Of course. I think one of the things that we can highlight just from our first activity is one, Steven and I are all about participatory research and participatory involvement. But one of the things that we have to remember is that we don't want people doing something for nothing, right? And so you want to realize that all of these exchanges with youth, with each other, this is relationship data that can be used to redevelop and to scope the relationship in a formative way. I'm married. I have a wife. She's my partner. And so when you have a wife and a partner, you'll have random conversations where there is relational data that's being embedded, and you as the partner are trusted with that information. So just thinking about the chat that we've done so far, there's relationship data. There's connections that can be made on the information that's been shared. Keep that in mind, that as you're building relationships, as you're using some practices to engage with youth, don't just make it an activity. Make this a way of beginning to reveal yourself to that child or to that youth, or reveal that youth to you. It's not about transactional relationships with information. It's about building transformative relationships, and transformative relationships are centered on that human exchange, us exchanging those things that inspire us, those things that conflict us, and exchanging parts of us, which leads us into the work that we're about to do right now. We're going to put everybody in this group to work. All 100 and so of us are going to be a part of activities that we would use for youth and how we would support youth. And so the first activity that we're going to do is we're going to do a breakout, and that breakout is going to be centered on a form of building relationships that we like to call affirming identity. And one of the ways we affirm identity when we come into spaces, when we do our circle work, we affirm identity through centering the lived experience, and do it through artifacts. And so we're going to have you take a moment right now. You've already thought about someone that's made an impact on your life. You thought about how they engage with you. And so the question that you're going to be jumping to these groups is, you're going to be in small groups, and the group's going to talk about this question. Share someone or something that's impacted your life that gives you daily inspiration. Who or what do you bring with you into this collective experience? That's super important. We consider that an artifact. So it may be a person, maybe the person that you told us about already. It might be that that ROTC leader. It might be that teacher or youth coordinator that supported you already that you bring with you into this collective experience. Or it may be a thing. For some people, it is their favorite song. It is, you know, listening to Purple Rain every morning gets them ready for the day so that they're able to activate and be their best self. We want you to think about those things. And when you get into your group, you're going to share those things in community with each other of what is that experience or what is that person or that artifact that you bring with you into this group. And I'll read that question one more time for clarity.
And we'll post it. I was going to say, when you go into your breakout groups, we'll also post it in the chat for those of you who have done these Zoom calls before. If you are on a computer, you'll see the breakout room, and the chat will overlay with the question as well for you. But in case some of you are on your phone or not on a computer and can't see, we'll continue to repeat the question.
All right, and I'll repeat
as well.
Yep, for our people who are not on the computer, I want to read it one more time for you. When you get into your breakout groups, you're going to share someone or something that has impacted your life that gives you daily inspiration. And you're going to answer the question, who or what do you bring with you into this collective experience? Who or what do you bring with you into the collective experience? And that collective experience is this moment right now while we're doing this this quick work with you concerning over this lunch period. So those are the two questions that you're going to ask in your breakout groups. Again, this is called Affirming Identity through Shared Artifacts. And so we're going to start breaking you out shortly. We're going to be breaking out for 5 minutes. Then we'll come back, give you your next prompt, and then break out for another 5 minutes. So let's get ready.
All right, I'm sending you all out to your rooms now. Oh, hi.
All right, let me see. Leslie, are you able to put a chat to all the breakout room participants?
I think so. Let's see here. Yes, what do you want me to say?
Can you just repeat the prompt and say 90 seconds per person, and then we'll bring them all back.
Can you just tell me the prompt again? I can type it really quick.
Here, I'm gonna put it in our chat.
Okay.
No worries, Emma. I'm gonna assign you to a breakout room in a second. Hold on. Let me assign our new participants. And can you just say 90 seconds per person, and then we'll time it? Thank you, Leslie.
I have a timer going right now.
Okay, cool.
It limits how much you can write in there.
Got you. No worries. Thank you so much, Leslie. And let me see how I could get these folks into a breakout room.
Are you able to, or do I need to?
It's telling me to join a breakout room, so I think you need to.
Okay, I'm assigning everybody.
We'll see y'all in a few minutes.
So Emma, I'm trying to figure out, I think you're assigned, I think we are a breakout room. So I'm trying to think if I can find Emma to join another breakout.
I don't think that's true, because it says you've been assigned to breakout room 12 and I left it. And so I think we're not in a breakout room. We're in the main room. No worries. Cool. Sounds good, Emma. Emma, what org are you with? You're on mute. I gotta unmute you. Sorry, I forgot.
Steven,
Lincoln
Emma is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leslie's been holding my hand throughout this whole process, and we're just getting our act together for what we're doing digitally at Lincoln Park Zoo this summer. And then I saw through my shy that this popped up. So I was like, great, I'll tune in today.
Cool. Well, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully find something, a takeaway from this. This is like a very condensed version of what we're doing later in the week with Leslie, but hopefully this is helpful. This condensed version can help with some stuff, and we're here as a resource. We're partners with Leslie all the way through. So.
And Emma, you saw we were sending out the training. There's all sorts of great stuff. And you actually came up today because a woman wanted to do this camp with a lot of animals. I was telling her about Andy's whole thing about stuffed animals, but then she's like, oh my God, would someone from the zoo come and do like a little workshop with us? And I was like, hey, I'm sure they would. So it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Always promoting the zoo. Do you mind if I just ask Steven? So we have about 1 minute left. Do you want me to give them a little bit longer or just?
Because we're gonna come back, debrief, and do another prompt, and we're tight on time. So yeah, let's just.
That's fine. I just want to make sure. And if I just do close all rooms, because it's setting it to 10 minutes, but if I do close all rooms.
Give them like a 1 minute or give them like a 2 minute heads up, I guess, and say we're gonna give you all like.
Actually, it's almost, we're already way in.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just let them talk for another minute, and then we'll close out the.
I'll do 1 minute roundup.
Okay, cool.
If I just do close all rooms, it'll pull everybody back, right?
Yeah.
Usually I have it timed. I think it was automatically set up. They had it set up prior to have it automatically 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
their countdown clock is wrong, but they'll figure it out. We said 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you so much, Leslie, for helping with the technical.
Like a minute at the end if worse comes to worse. I don't need a whole 5 minutes.
You're good, Leslie. We good. We got you on time. You're our partner. We got you.
Yeah. I'm basically just promoting to come more to your trainings. Yeah, we'll give them like 30 seconds and then I'll bring it back.
Cool.
You ready to go?
Cool, let's do it. I'm ready.
Charm. 20, 24, 23, 22. Countdown. I'm just gonna go ahead and close it. Nobody's tracking time. Takes a minute to come back in anyway. Oh wait, now it says all breakout rooms will close in 57 seconds. Sorry.
That's right. That's cool though. Give folks another chance to talk a little bit more.
We're coming back in now. Hey everybody.
Hey everyone, welcome folks. Breakout rooms are closing. Welcome back.
Hope you had a wonderful time communing with each other, sharing your inspirational stories.
All right. Looks like everybody's coming back. We're on our way towards having everybody home soon.
Yeah, we'll give it about another minute because some folks might still be talking and the countdown goes and kicks you out. So we'll give it a second.
Absolutely.
Cool. So
always wonderful when people want to not end the conversation. Like that's our dream this summer, right?
Exactly. That's called engagement.
Oh, I see some familiar faces. Hey, Shatara. I just saw, I'm sorry, the names are popping up and I'm seeing like familiar, some faces and names I haven't seen in a minute. I always love that.
Indeed.
All right, I think we're getting close to almost all of our participants. We're at 73, 74 back in. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe we might have had some folks who couldn't stay the whole way because I know we were up around 90. So yeah, so I think we should keep it going. I think we're good. We got 73. Before we transition to the next piece, anyone want to offer, use the raise hand function or the chat box function? Just what was that experience like in affirming your identity through that storytelling, of your inspiration? What did that feel like to share that, to reflect on that? When was the last time maybe even you thought about that? I know sometimes we could forget about those things, right? And is that something you're grounding yourself in? Feel free to use the chat box option, but we would also love if anyone wants to use the raise hand function and wants to share verbally as well. We'll unmute your mic so that you can share with the group. So we'll leave that open for a second, that prompt open to ask folks again, if anyone wants to just kind of share what that felt like to reflect on that piece of inspiration, right? And what brings us into the work. Because, no one gets into working with young people and doing the work of serving young people, I hope, with the intent of they're going to become rich off of it, right? This is work that we do for the greater good, right? So like, we already know we're operating from a place of love and trying to see a different vision for the world. And I think it's important we check those inspirations at time.
So shout out to Jackie, who said, I had to remind myself why I got into this work. I think that is a great thing for all of us to do. And when we have these moments to share, it does recenter us. So shout out to Jackie for sharing that. Shout out to Monice Purnell, who said that they usually share the story with students, but not with peers. So that was nice to hear those stories. And shout out to Renee. It's been a long time since I thought about something like that. It was nice to reflect on it. It is important that we always come back to this structure. The way things in most of our structures, unfortunately, in our world, have been set up is in a transactional relationship to humanity. And so when we're building things for community, when we're building moments and experiences and environments with community in mind, we have to make an intentional effort to make sure that things are transformative, that we are sharing in our humanity. And so this is an example of that sharing, of us bringing the human being first to the space, and then making sure that we all recognize that we are a part of that collective sharing, a part of that collective space. And so we're going to do it again, because our belief, Steven and I, whenever we do work, is not just about you doing practice once. It's about you doing a practice often and getting that practice so that it becomes a part of who you are. And so we're going to do a different type of engagement activity, but it's going to be the same structure. You're going to jump into breakout rooms. And so the first engagement activity, we call that Affirming Identity through Shared Artifacts. This particular activity is called Freedom Dreaming, and it's centered on lived experiences. And so what we want you to do in this next breakout is we want you to think about your time during this pandemic. And we want you and your group to reimagine our world and answer the following prompt. What is truly essential work in our communities? How should we compensate and support those that do the essential work? And how should we shift budgets concerning that essential work? And so I'm going to ask that question again. The prompt is, what is truly essential work in our communities? How should we compensate and support those essential works? And how should we shift budgets? And so what I want to, when we're dealing with freedom dreaming, what I want to guard against right now before we get into groups, we don't need you to figure out the framework. We don't need you to use your analytical, programmatic, how do we scaffold this, this budget brain. We need you to use that creative brain. If there were no restraints, without restraints, how would you dream of this thing? So we want to center you in developing that dreaming muscle. And so we're going to break up in groups again. For those that are on call that can't see it, I'm going to say it one last time. Think about your time during this pandemic. Reimagine, we're going to reimagine our world and answer the following prompts. What is truly essential work in our communities? How should we compensate and support those essential works? And how should we shift budgets to support those essential works? And so you guys are going to begin the group pretty shortly.
And we'll give everyone, again, about 90 seconds each to share. We're breaking you into groups of 4, right, Leslie? Okay, cool. So everyone will get about 90 seconds. We'll do announcements over the chat. We'll re-put the prompt over and then bring folks back.
Great. Have fun, everybody. I think there's some people in the room with me here. There's always one that ends up joining us. Oh, there we go.
Yep. So I just put the prompt again in the main chat box, Leslie, if you want to copy it for everyone to see again.
I did it already.
Huh?
I had it cut from before when you were talking.
All right. Cool.
I'll do it again just in case.
Cool.
Actually, I like this.
What were you saying?
I like this role.
The behind the scenes role.
Hi, April.
Hey, I have been having technical difficulties, and so I had to turn my computer off and on again. It seems like
I'm going to sign you to a team right now so you can hang out with your people. Okay?
oh sure.
There you go. Did it work?
Yep, it's out. So this was us trying to figure out. I was just, like this question. I'll text you about some things that we were trying to figure out how to ask this question. I'm really interested to see how folks respond to this one.
Yeah. I think we want to make sure too, like we get a little bit, or just talking about like the engagement kind of piece. I know like some people may have come in for like, I thought you were going to teach me how to like hang out with kids online virtually, the deepness part, but just letting them know that the rest of the trainings will do it. I just don't know like what people's expectations were coming in.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we just wanted to model. We believe in the engagement is around identity and dreaming, and we want to model
Totally.
activities that go to that. But yeah, we'll go further into frameworks and stuff.
I'm totally good. I just know there's that's why when I do shorter trainings, I'm always like, this is just engaging. There's always more. People who panic, you're like, we have a whole entire lineup. But they haven't been sending out that information, which is what's frustrating. Like, I mean, they haven't sent out the link to that stuff. So it's been like, I don't think people know the rest of the trainings are coming.
Got you. I just sent you something over text just because I'm always paranoid about things being recorded.
Yeah. Yes, I think you can settle your way into that one.
Yeah, so no, that was our way of leaning into that. It was like, so we spent all day yesterday tinkering. And that,
I think this can be like, what is your, in our training, we've talked a lot about like your role. You are an essential worker. How do you become that? That's been a theme in the Friday trainings. So you can even just say like, we wanted you to do this because you are the essential worker that's most important to the summer kind of thing.
Right. Hey, Leslie, I appreciate you so much for everything, for real.
You see what I posted on Michelle's thing being like, oh, by the way, do you see it launched? To trying to remind her that she's supposed to be funding you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Posted it, so you should really reach out to her because I know she wants to. She's just getting organized.
No, we talked to Jose Rico right before this, so I got to actually.
I'm trying to hype it so that she knows that like, oh, they were able to launch it because we already gave the money, but now you need to step up.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Okay, there's about a minute left, and then I'm going to call them back, and then I'll have like 60 seconds to come back in.
Cool, sounds good.
Then it's 12:33 now, so we have till 12:45. You guys good for time?
Yeah, we're good. We're gonna have them reflect and then transition over to you. I gotta go get an oil change badly for my car.
They're coming back in now?
Yeah, looks like it. Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody.
Got some folks coming in. Welcome back. I know, cool. Got 7 folks back. So we got 10% of our crew almost there.
For those of you who are coming back, we'll be announcing this in a minute, but if you wanted to, just know I keep posting over here. This is just a kind of a kickoff overview kind of highlight. Terrence and Steven have a whole month of programming for you that I'm going to show at the end. But just so you know, this is not your one-shot deal to get deep into it. This is really just the start of our journey together.
Yeah,
Welcome back. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just saying thanks, Leslie, for that. Welcome back, everyone. This is just like one piece of a lot of trainings that we have on deck, and we always, Terrence and I really believe in like the best way to train folks is to just put them through the same things we expect young people to do. We should expect ourselves to do it, right? Which is why We center the trainings, all of our work in this way. We're never gonna ask folks or ask our young people that we work with to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves, to reflect on things that we wouldn't reflect ourselves, to consider practices that we wouldn't do ourselves. And so that's part of, coming back to the purpose of this training around engagement. And engagement starts with relationship building, right? And that relationship building starts with understanding of like a shared expectations, that I'm not asking you to do anything I'm not asking of myself. Go ahead, T. I know you had something you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, and so just to jump on that relationship building. So, in our practices and in our breakouts, we've already done an affirming of someone's identity, right? So that they can feel comfortable that they can bring their whole self into their relationship with our program, into their relationship with the work that we're doing with them over the summer or throughout whatever the course or the timeline is for their work with the youth. And then you're doing some dreaming with them, where we reimagine a new world. And so ultimately, these things may feel unfamiliar, but they really are core to what we've been doing throughout our time as youth workers, as educators, et cetera. When you're telling a kindergartner that, they need to take care of their lessons and develop their core skills so that they can one day, go to college and get a career, those are dreams. And then those are dreams that are activated upon through a program, through standards, through strategy, and making smart goals. And so we want to revisit that dreaming muscle. And so if anybody was doing that practice with us, if you felt a little conflicted, like, I don't know, I don't know how I would want the world to be, that just means that we need to continue to develop that muscle. And that dreaming muscle is developed with time and activity and continuing to do that effort. And so we're going to make sure that we're activating our dreams, as Leslie is sharing, and we have to do that regularly. So sharing of yourself is something that needs to be happening regularly in order to build strong relationships, but also building that space to dream of new ways to connect, new ways to develop relationships moving forward. One of the key things that I kind of got in our session is that when we were doing our group this last time, we are sometimes really stringent on ourselves, and we don't give ourselves enough grace because we're trying to make our dreams fit within the constructs of what we see. And so, unfortunately, what that is culture. That's culture speaking to us, trying to restrict and constrict how we move. And many times, as people who lead and facilitate with youth, we then do that same thing. We act as that cultural restriction in their mindset and in their ideas. And so we got to get those kinks out and get those glitches out, so that when we're engaging with youth, we're not asking youth, well, how do you make that dream happen? Give us the 9-step plan, right? But that we're allowing those youth to reimagine and truly connect. Another thing about our practices today is that all of our practices are centered in voice and the voice of the person and their lived experience. So it can't be that the artifact is only what we want the artifact to be, because it has to be about that person. And you learn things from those exchanges. In the group that I was just in, I learned something powerful from one of the brothers that was in the group. Paul taught me about the Guerrero state and about how it is the home of the first Black Mexican president. I woke up today not having any information concerning that. And in my exchange of humanity with Paul, I go away better, right? And when we look at the last practice that we did, we really want to highlight that push to reimagine our systems, reimagine our practices. What the pandemic has done for us as organization leaders and CDOs, and what it's done for us as educators, is we've had to reimagine what it means to convey on the fly. And so the practices that you've seen Steven and I doing, right, where we're engaging through chat, where we're engaging one-on-one, where we're calling voice in for people to be able to share, but also recognizing that this is a big dais. And while some of you may not have wanted to share with the larger group, most of you, when you got in that group of 4 and that smaller group, you were much more willing to share of yourself and share of your humanity. And so we have to develop our toolkit to make things engaging in this virtual space. And we do that by centering it in the voice and lived experiences of those that we're engaging with. Go ahead, Steve.
No, that's it. I mean, I just wanted to, I wanted to share the screen to bring back, and you hit the nail on the head, right? Of like how the voice lives through all this work, and what the ultimate goal is to really get young people and ourselves, right? Because the idea, Dr. Sean Ginwright talks about this a lot, actually, about how, young people up to a certain age, and there's other research on this too, are allowed to dream and be creative and there's research that's connected that literally when they enter the school system, right, as kindergartners, as first graders, or even pre-K, is when that creativity and ability to dream slowly becomes starting to get kind of coached out of them, right? And so what we really want to just kind of share the importance on coming back to all of this is like, we need to keep that ability to dream. And we also need to keep that ability to Terrence's point of centering young people's humanity and experience and allowing that to be the catalyst to what their dreams are. And not being afraid to really think about things that we haven't thought about, things that might be hard to think through. I appreciate Terrence's frame before we went in, like throw off your budget brain, throw off your analytical brain, turn on your dreaming brain, right? Dream unrestricted, work with young people to create space for them to dream unrestricted, right? And then be able to do this work. I wanna just leave it open. If there's anyone who has any questions, anything they wanna like touch on, share in the chat, raise hand function before we transition off of this piece. I'm gonna stop my screen share, but this is a really a great reminder I love to bring to folks, again, of what the continuum of engagement looks like for folks, and how this is centered in our work and our approach and what we'll be doing, what we've been doing and will be doing. And if there's no questions, or any feedback or comments or thoughts, that's fine. I'm gonna actually I'm looking at time, I'm gonna transition to Leslie real quick so she could talk about some of the upcoming trainings that we'll be doing as well.
Greetings, everybody. I'll check in with Steven and Terrence. Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Well, one, I just want to thank you so much for kind of kicking off this kind of journey and really just centering that, MHA has been providing trainings and kind of leading into June around how do we just center this work and then layer the practices we're going to be learning on top of this kind of fundamental humanity. Many of you have actually come to our sessions and trainings, but I wanted to highlight, Let's Save Summer just became kind of a thing we started saying when COVID hit. And other cities were closing down summer programs. And I think the fact that, I don't know how many people are on this call right now, that there's 63 people here who are committed to keeping summer alive for young people. And I cannot tell you what an essential work or role that is for you all. So I just want to always start with commending that the courage you are showing right now to keep summer going for young people is absolutely critical. But we also thought, what could we do to build a wraparound supports for you? Because many of you were just told, hey, you're going to keep your summer program going. And then you were kind of left on your own. To kind of figure that out. Maybe you had peers, maybe some of you don't have that. So every single Friday, we have 2 more Fridays coming. We have basically taking your dream, and I love that you guys focus so much on dreams, because our passion was the dream you had for summer does not need to disappear just because of the issues. And in some ways, your dream of leaning into social justice is more powerful than ever. So every single Friday, we do a training in the morning and the afternoon that takes you from the really big vision all the way down to like kind of what are you going to do on Tuesday. And our vision is just to save every single dream. And from that, you'll be able to access one-on-one coaching. And then I wanted you both to meet kind of Steven and Terrence today, because all summer long in June, they are going to be leading really deep dive trainings on what you kind of got a small taste of today. Called SaveSummer2020.org. And so I just want to take our last second to kind of show you what the site looks like, so that you can see all of these amazing resources that are available to you. So when you go to the site, you're going to see this beautiful, we want to show you that like we're trying to keep summer also happy. It's this great community site. So there's discussion boards and resources. But right now we have all of these resources available to you. So here's where you can sign up for all of the trainings, and you're welcome to sign up for every single one. There is no limitation. And anyone in your organization can come, anyone in Chicago can come. This is really about a movement of youth workers working to make summer amazing for young people. You can click through. And then for all the resources pages, if you are busy on Fridays and you just know you can't make all these live sessions, in real time, we post all of the materials, all of the recordings, so you can see our entire training toolkit. If you're excited right now and you want to go, it's available. Everything is here. For you to be able to just really dig in and enjoy, very positive. And what we've been able to do is people are adding materials. So Mikva actually just incredibly shared all 16 of their workshops that they have built for this time. So that if you wanted to jump right into civic leadership and social justice, we have that. We have racial justice resources. We're trying to make this a one-stop shop. So feel free to come back and kind of visit this, but sign up for trainings. And like, you're just now part of kind of our summer family. I'm just so happy to spend the summer with you and supporting you. And thank you for Steven and Terrence for being here.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank you for having us and just letting us be part of the community and being able to learn together. So thank you.
Yeah. And the trainings start tomorrow, so it's not too late if you want to join up now.
But they start Friday. Today's Wednesday.
Friday. Maybe like me, you're losing track of time. Every single Friday, that's our routine. I just want to say, I know we have to cut up. We did that so that you would feel inspired and empowered on Friday before your weekend, before you got sucked back into work. So just think about this as your self-care retreat day to treat yourself to learning what you need to do to be your best dreaming self. I think that's our wrap up for today. Mia, I don't know if you wanted to say anything as we close.
No, just want to say thank you all again for joining. Thank you, Leslie, Steven, Terrence, for taking us on that journey. I know that I'm going to follow up with a number of people from conversations just because we scratched the surface, and look forward to the summer of workshops that you all will lead and learning from each of you. So thank you again. And everyone, enjoy your afternoon. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you all. Thank you all for coming.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
I'm going to post the link one more time here.
Oh, yes. And with that, with those that are still on there, colleague just pointed out, yes, we will be posting the recording of this session on the My Shine My Future website, but we will also be sending a follow-up email to everyone so they have that information as well. So thank you again. Yeah. And I think
videos also on, you'll see a whole section just for all these trainings on the new Safe Summer site. So when you join in on this week, you'll see all that too.
Leslie, Steven, Terrence, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but because we have a few people here, I imagine maybe some of them have questions. Would you all be willing to stay around for maybe 5-10 minutes if anyone unmutes themselves?
Yeah, I can hang out. I'm just gonna reload my coffee real quick, but yes, I'll be right back.
So if you're still on and you have questions, you now have permission to unmute yourself and ask. So we invite you to do just that. Otherwise, we're just going to stay on until everyone hops
I usually have music playing in the background to like make the awkward silence palatable.
Yeah, I can get that started.
By the way, I recommend for everybody who's still on here, I always kind of leave the music playing at the beginning with some inspirational music, so you don't have to feel pressured to like stress out. But we found that a lot of people are really enjoying just having a couple minutes to relax and listen and kind of lean into music. So it's a great device all around to kind of plan that, especially if young people are just rushing. Gives people that moment of just like a little bit of a meditative stance. My preference is Stevie. I tend to do Stevie Wonder because everybody loves him. It doesn't offend anybody. But it's still powerful. It's not, totally watered down. Justice.
Yeah, and with that, if my Spotify will agree with me, I will turn on Stevie.
Mm-hmm.
I still use old school Pandora. People make fun of me. And I just play it on my phone next to the speaker because I was like, I can't multitask on the computer.
just as a Zoom hack, Mia, if you're using Spotify, you sometimes want to start with your Spotify volume at half and then ease up.
Good looking out.
Hey, Charles, that is a great point. Can you let me know what organization you're in and your email? We have been promoting every single week for people to kind of link all the enrichment programming to the One Summer Chicago job programming. So I can keep track of that for you and try to support that.
And Charles, Terrence and I have a summer program. So yes, we have capacity. We're looking actively still for more programming. CNH.org. Okay, cool. We will follow up. Charles.
Charles, I think that's with CHA, right?
It's with Centers for New Horizon, but I serve residents for on CHA properties, and we're looking to identify work sites in conjunction with the virtual platform. They're planning to pay young people $14 an hour to work 20 hours a week virtually from home. And if some are able and willing to go out, we wanted to provide them with like a day to work at a site. And if people had opportunities, that would be super awesome. I'm trying to find different things other than them working in retail shops, working in the community, civic engagement, digital art, things that they're interested in. That's what I'm looking for.
Hey, Charles, so Terrence and I have designed a Summer Youth Institute that we're launching, and we're still taking young people serving as a work site this summer. I put our contact info in there if you want to shoot us an email just so that we can get going some back and forth. But we have a 6-week program that we've designed in accordance to One Summer Chicago. We actually designed it for 16 hours a week because we know that, you know, an agency still might want to do their own check-ins for 2 to 4 hours a week with young people and and have their own services they're providing. But we've designed a virtual program that's 16 hours a week that's centered around young people going through a racial healing circle model and doing the work of racial healing and solidarity building.
Love it.
And then connecting that, actually at the end, they will be certified as racial healing practitioners. And beyond the summer, then can get paid to do racial healing work in their community, in their school, with their family. All you need is 5 people to do a racial healing circle, right? And to do that solidarity work. So they get paid during the summer to develop a skill that they could use beyond the summer. And so we have capacity to take folks on right now. We should talk ASAP about how many slots you're looking for. We could serve about 16 hours a week for your program, and then leave the other 4 hours for you to be able to check in with your young people throughout the week if you want to do a beginning or end of the week check-in with them and provide other services aside from ours.
Okay, that sounds great. I'll shoot you an email right now. As soon as we end this, I'll shoot you an email so we can connect, and that sounds great for the young people.
Yeah, and anyone else who's on the line who is a One Summer agency that is looking for a work site for young people, please contact Terrence and I. We are still taking in work sites into our program. We're still working with agencies right now. We still have capacity to add more. And we're looking hopefully to get up to around 200 young people overall served, and we'll have the practitioners and the staff to match that. And we're just looking for the agencies that, again, they have the slots, they're willing to do the work of paying the young people, and we'll do the work of serving those young people for 16 of the 20 hours a week, and leave 4 hours a week open for y'all to do your check-ins with them. So,
And Charles, because you registered, we do a twice weekly newsletter for Let's Save Summer. It's a feature on there at the very top that shows you the link about how to sign up and kind of do all that. So that'll be actually highlighted tomorrow to everybody on the call as well. So Steven, for Terrence, you will, everyone on the call will have an opportunity to engage for that way.
Cool.
And Charles, I really think it's great. We've been trying to encourage a lot of more engaged like civic leadership work and social justice work as placements for young people.
Right, I would like to see that.
And we've actually sponsored this as part of Let's Save Summer to make sure that the city agencies feel comfortable that this is a viable, allowable, major strategy, and they are very much behind this. So we also want to make sure that you feel comfortable that this is a space you can lean into too.
It's my intention to attend the trainings on Friday and going forward until they end.
Great.
Cool. Looking forward to hearing from you, Charles, and definitely could take on some help you with, again, being a work site for some of your young people. So definitely hit us up.
All right, I'm about to hit you up right now. Thank you so much, Terrence. I appreciate the love. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Yep.
Are the 15 left all staff from you
Yeah,
all?
I was just going to say now, so it's not all of us. However, do you want to be respectful of time because this is general societal lunch hour. And we did just schedule 45 minutes. So if anyone is still on the line and still have questions, again, we will have a follow-up email and make sure that Leslie, Stevens, and Terrence contact information is there. So if you wanted to reach out to them directly, you can with your questions, comments, and continue conversations. So with that, Leslie, you are a designated host, so you're the one that actually you in the meeting.
You're like, stop the meeting already. Okay.
No.
Well, for everyone who's here, I just want to say thank you for giving us this space to kind of meet your whole community. We've really enjoyed being able to partner with MHA and kind of support each other's resources. We have a whole highlight on our site that we've been kind of showcasing on our training page. We also link to all of your work. But anything you would like us to do, now that you've kind of seen a little taste, or if you have new trainings, please just feel free. Like, we are very open book. We're very responsive. So if you're hearing like everyone's really struggling with this, we can jump right in, and actually we have some budget to hire just like basically coaches that only respond to the adults of needs this summer. So I just want to make sure that we keep it open. And we've had a great communication, but as you're hearing things, like, we are really just moving in real time. So I just want you to know, like I said, this is an open community, 100% to your whole group. And we're really just happy to make that connection. And I'm going to end this now.
Peace.
Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Talk to you all soon. Thank
Later.
you.